Let's get into some suburbs. So it's going to be not very favourable for a lot of people here, and it's just because, I mean, a lot of people aren't going to like the very price points I'm going to say, but I'm telling you, this is Sydney, and I don't buy anything that I wouldn't personally buy myself for any clients because I just know how it performs long-term. You're pricing yourself out of better suburbs. So the price point I'm going to start at is under 1.5 million, and the suburb I'll mention is Belmore. Now, look, I am a Doggies fan. Everyone knows that. I've been a Doggies fan my whole life. I've basically grown up walking distance from Belmore Stadium, which is what you can see here. I have a really good mate of mine who's the head of partnerships for the Bulldogs at the moment, funny enough as well. So, I mean, I know a lot of people that actually work for the club, a lot of the executives personally as well. So maybe I'm a little bit biased, but look, the reason Belmore is one of the best suburbs to buy in is because it's only about 12 k's or so from the CBD. It's on one of the main train lines. It is more upmarket than probably surrounding suburb of Lakemba. And it's quite tightly held at the moment. A lot of I'd say Belmore isn't really as Lebanese as probably people think. There's a lot of Greeks that actually live in Belmore. There's quite a few Italians as well. There's still obviously a resident, I'd say, Anglo population there too as well. But these people generally don't like selling their homes. They hold onto them very tight, like very, very tightly. They don't want to sell. And if they sell, they generally buy something else in the suburb. They just pass it down to their relatives. It's just how it kind of works in the local community. It's a very strong held community. I mean, you got quite a lot of money here as well that you don't know about either. So quite a lot of people from Strathfield actually move out to Belmore, Lakemba, Greenacre, and there's quite some actually quite wealthy suburbs that just not suburbs, sorry, wealthy families that actually are quite well known around this area, and they just stay there because it's a community kind of thing. It's a very common thing to do. But the thing that's really pushing Belmore into overdrive will be basically the metro line and the access there. Now, what it is Belmore, it's basically mostly inner west suburbs on this line. So it's pretty much Campsie the whole way through Lakemba. All of those three stations are part of the transport orientated program. So what you'll see in the future here is you'll have continued prices bidding up. And I think the Belmore to like the central train is only going to take something ridiculous. I think it was something like, from memory, 18 to 20 minutes. So the lifestyle triangle, of Belmore, is just going to continually improve. And I've been at an auction, this was in October last year, where it was on about 700 metres squared. It was about 350 metres from the station. So it was within the orientated plan program. It wasn't even a corner block or anything. Old Home went for $2.92 million in Belmore. Now, that number 5 years ago would have been maximum $1.2 million. Nowhere near that, right? And that's going to continue to happen in the future. There'll be developers that keep buying here and pushing up these prices. Land will continue to be scarce, and you'll have the typical population of your European, your kind of Middle Eastern, and your existing, Anglo population that live here who will not want to sell their homes. So they will not sell their homes at all. It's just the way they are. They'll pass it on the generations, and they'll generally try to buy homes as well close by to where they live. It's just how they are, and they don't sell them. I mean, where basically my parents' home is around here. The neighbours of them own literally 4 houses in the same street, to give you an idea. So, I mean, it's very common in this area for that to happen. It's going to continue to happen in that area. So that's Belmore under 1.5 million. You got to be quick. That number is shrinking by the day. So be quick if you're really looking to buy for under 1.5 million in Sydney. The second one isn't very far away either, and that is the suburb is Canterbury. It's only about 5 minutes up the road, maybe 10 in bad traffic from Belmore, really straight up Canterbury Road. A smaller suburb. Key one to Sydney's inner west, parts of Canterbury over the geographical inner west, which is the Cooks River boundary, east of it, northeast kind of, should I say, and parts of Canterbury are also over the other side of it, which is technically inner southwest Sydney. But Canterbury as well, I mean, you've still got homes on blocks, a lot of bungalows and Federation homes, and really the suburb itself, it's truly starting to gentrify. Look, historically speaking, I mean, a lot of your, gentrifying inner westies were sort of moving to Dulwich Hill Enmore, Marrickville, that kind of area, Summer Hill, all close by. They're starting to now go out to Canterbury as well. It's very close to the CBD again. Like, that's going to be, I kid you not, like a 15-minute train ride in the city when that metro line's done. It is on the same metro line as Belmore, and the land's just so scarce. So this area here that you can see in this photo, in this Domain article, Canterbury, the Battler suburb bordering Sydney's inner west trendies, that used to be just small sort of cottage and terrace houses, and it's a massive like Woolworths precinct now. It's right next to the station. I mean, that's just going to continue to happen here. There was actually plans of them demolishing the Canterbury racecourse, which got refused as well. So that's only made, should I say, demand higher and also supply lower. So it's going to continue to happen that way. Canterbury will continue to be a good suburb to buy in under 1.7 million. Look, under 2 million, there's not many suburbs that I can kind of pick under that range that I'd really buy in, but I've mentioned this in the past and I'll mention in the future, that is Leichhardt. Look, Leichhardt obviously is kind of Sydney's Little Italy, historically Little Italy, I can say. There's a lot of Italians that live there. First place where the settlers kind of come to Sydney, Italy kind of into kind of glebe. There's a lot of them that live around there, a lot of the nonnas and nonnus that live there. I love Leichhardt. I used to play at Lambert Park against Arpia there. It's basically a club that plays in the Premier League in Sydney there. Nice location. I played a few juniors grand finals. Actually, they're funny enough too. My sister played there too. Nice kind of area. A lot of like villagey sort of parts of Leichhardt and nice tree-lined streets, kind of like here as you can see in the photo. North Leichhardt especially really nice. Look, Leichhardt itself really, it's in between a lot more expensive suburbs, first of all. So it's in between like Haberfield, you got Lilyfield there too. I mean, you've also got Annandale, Glebe very close to it as well. They're all much more expensive. And the demographics of Leichhardt are very good too. So you can see here just the personal family, and then also you can see your household income there. The reason your household income isn't as much more than your sort of personal and family income is because you do have quite a few people in Leichhardt who do live in apartments, and also you got a lot of professionals who live there just on their own, or it might be childless couples as well. That's pretty common as well. So that's why, but very good demographics in the suburb, very good ratio as well to your mortgage repayment. So it's very good for that too. So, I mean, I can't see a much better suburb in Sydney to buy in Leichhardt. It's one of them that is kind of lagging, and that number will continue to increase as we go through the next sort of 10 years of the market cycle. So very good property purchases in that in Leichhardt under $2 million in Sydney. Let's get into under 2.5 million, and kind of what's going on here is it's just stabilised, and I've started to kind of see some properties in this suburb actually sell for under 2.5 million, and that suburb is Five Dock. Look, Five Dock's probably best known for being, I'd say, the home of Hen and Chicken Bay and some parts of the, should I say, close to the Bay Run of Sydney. As you can see here, this is just Timbrell Park, and that's where Bay Run is basically in Sydney. That's not Hen and Chicken Bay, but Five Dock is also on Hen and Chicken Bay. And Five Dock itself, it is a harbourfront suburb by the water. You actually have a lot of homes that are on above 400 metres squared. And for people in Perth and Brisbane, 400 metres squared in the inner west of Sydney is an incredibly large block. There's some even here for about 650 metres squared, believe it or not. You're not going to pick a 650 metres squared in Five Dock for under 2.5 million. You're looking at probably 3.2 plus, mind you. But the thing about Five Dock is, it is going to be one of the only harbourfront suburbs. It'll be the only harbourfront one on the southwestern side of the harbour that has a train line. So there is, don't get me wrong, there's going to be a train line at the Bays, but the Bays isn't really suburban. The Bays train line kind of is, I'd say it's kind of like where the docks are. It's not really a residential suburb. The Five Dock station is going right in the middle of where the sort of Norton Street CBD centre, it's not Norton Street, sorry. Great North. I've got Leichhardt and Five Dock mixed up. It's the Great North Road CBD Centre. That's where the station's going. So you're going to have the very wealthy professionals who want to live in these homes by the water and the harbour side that will start to move into Five Dock. So as I said, it's the only one that is harbourfront with a station that's really there and residential. And you're going to pick something up for like 2.5 million here is going to be unbelievable, because that is just going to rocket as this starts to go on. 5 Dock is literally, like, you can see there, Hunter Street. That is literally what, the third stop into the CBD. It's going to be like probably 10 minutes into the CBD center from literally, I mean, from the town center, which is where a lot of people can walk into. So, I mean, it's going to be incredible buying that. I mean, even if you think you have a wealthy person who works in Parramatta too, there is some pretty expensive or high paying jobs in Parramatta. Like, it's probably only going to be like a 15 or 20 minute train ride either. So you have heaps of people who are wealthy who will start to move into here. So that's what's going to happen. Really good suburb to buy in that in 5 Dock for under $2.5 million. Let's get into under $3 million. And it's a budget that not a lot of people are going to like either. But, I mean, I mentioned this suburb in the past, and I'll mention it again, and that suburb is Neutral Bay. Look, Neutral Bay is one of the best suburbs of pretty much the country to buy in long term. I'd say it's probably a top 20 suburb of the whole country to buy in. It looks like this. In late November, you have the jacarandas, and the streets are absolutely beautiful. I'd argue some parts of Neutral Bay are probably even just as beautiful as Lavender Bay, but not as well known. Really, Neutral Bay is positioned between very, very expensive suburbs. So it's right next to, I mean, literally Mossman, Cremorne Point, Carrabba Point, Cremorne, Camaray. They're all like $4 or $5 million plus suburbs, and Neutral Bay is a touch under $3 million at the moment. So that's so cheap for what really you can get, I mean, in the Lower North Shore. And really, Neutral Bay itself is, look, it's very much so an old money suburb that is near all the jobs. So if you look on the left here, Neutral Bay has homes like this. So your original homes on like 1,000 meters squared plus, you do get them. And there's a lot of smaller miners' cottages and, you know, your old sort of Victorian and old, should I say, terrace federation kind of cottages, your old semis and that. Very, very common in Neutral Bay. So you got a lot of old money here. A lot of people actually who live in these houses actually own their homes outright, surprisingly enough. So this is basically Neutral Bay, and it's right near all the jobs too. So Neutral Bay really on the right there, it's just kind of just, I'd say, southeast of St. Leonard's there. So it's basically right near all the key jobs, all the high paying jobs are in there. In a city, North Shore, I mean, Macquarie Park, Parramatta, eastern suburbs, inner west of Sydney, they're all there pretty much. Northwest is probably an anomaly out there, but that's where all the high-paying jobs kind of are. And Neutral Bay, you can get to every single one of them, I kid you not, probably within about half an hour, every single one of them. So that's another thing about Neutral Bay. It's one of the best long-term suburbs you can buy in. If you have that $3 million budget, it's definitely a really good one to buy in. Whether it's an investment, if it's an investment, I'm expecting you have at least a borrowing capacity of $5 million, because I'd probably buy for a little bit cheaper if it weren't for that. But if you want to live in there and it's just long-term money you want to hold, you're not going to pick a much better suburb than this. One of the most livable suburbs in Sydney. And I'd definitely consider buying it if you have that $3 million budget. Getting to the very top end here, the last two I'll mention. So I'll do one under 3.5 mil and then another that just has no budget. So under 3.5 mil, and it sounds so expensive, but for Sydney and where it is, it's actually quite cheap. It's just actually popped under it, and I'm seeing some good opportunities at the moment. So that suburb is Paddington. So people might not know this, but Paddington was originally actually Sydney's very first slum. Now, in the actual times of the bubonic plague, it was something like over 30% of Paddington actually had it. And they lived in all these tiny little shacks. Now, a lot of it was government housing at the time, but all of that was sold off a number of years ago. I mean, like 50 years ago now or more. And it's really gentrified because it's so well located, and it's right next to all your most expensive suburbs. So what it looks like today is something like this. You have a lot of terraced houses in Paddington that just are very well maintained and quite beautiful as well, and kind of quite quaint, I'd say, as well. And it's obviously got the trendy element too, I guess you could say too. But Paddington as well, it's a place where everyone kind of wants to live. It's right near all the expensive suburbs. Like, it literally neighbours Woollahra, Double Bay, Bellevue Hill, to give you an idea. Queen's Park, Bondi Junction, it's near all of them. And it's a lot cheaper than them. Like, Woollahra's like 5 mil, Bellevue Hill's like 10, to give you an idea. Paddington's like 3.5 at the moment. And what shows you the underlying kind of, should I say, ability for that to go a lot higher is just I mean, your demographics of the suburbs. So this is just again off census in 2021. So your personal, family, then household income. The ratio of personal and family income is just incredible to the state average, which New South Wales is one of the better earning states. Mind you, it's one of the best. Really, why the household there the ratio isn't as high to the state is because there's a lot of one bedder cottages and also, should I say, just small two bedders there. And there's not a lot of families that actually, there is families that live in Paddington, but there's a high percentage of, should I say, childless couples and singles that live in Paddington that are very high earning. It's very common to get your working professionals to live here. Extremely common. So really, these demographics just show what's going on in Paddington, and it's not historically an old money suburb. It's only been that way for probably about the last 30 years or so. So that's why it's lagging all these other surrounding suburbs. But it's one of the best you can buy in the whole country. I'm telling you that right now. And those demographics are also some of the highest in the whole country as well. So that's the reason Paddington is one of my favorite places to buy. And for under 3.5 million, again, such a good buy if you can get the right property. So that's Paddington for under 3.5 million. Look, finally, I'm going to do an open budget. And so this is, at the moment, it's about 4.5 to 4.7 million. And I do this because I do have clients that, do have these budgets. And I do have ones who genuinely just want to buy in the best suburb they can. And they genuinely just want to have a really good lifestyle and make money long term at the same time and live in Sydney, which I love and I'm sure they love too. And my undeniable pick again here is North Bondi. Look, North Bondi, I don't think anyone will debate me on this. It is probably the best located suburb in the whole country, I'd say. This is just Ben Buckler Headland, an overview of it. It is an image I got off Unsplash for free. Thank God, I see it everywhere, but it's such a good photo. Whoever gave this everyone for free is an absolute legend. But this is just Bondi Beach from above. You can see the mansions and some of the blocks on there. That is probably some of the most in-demand land in the world that exists there, mind you. And look, does anyone really need to debate me on this? It's probably the best located suburb in the country. As you can see, the world famous Bondi Beach there. It neighbours Dover Heights, neighbours Rose Bay, very expensive suburbs. It's completely landlocked and built, and landlocked and, should I say, sea locked, or can you say that, ocean locked? I don't know what you want to call it. Right near Bondi Village there. North Bondi kind of has its little village as well. No one really wants to sell here. All of these homes are very, very good. And I can't see North Bondi is basically like your Silicon Valley, I'd say, of Sydney, kind of like you very, very wealthy people live here. They'll continue to want to live here. Some of the best lifestyle in the country. You're never going to go wrong here. Very, very wealthy people buy here. Billionaires buy here. There was a guy my sister used to actually play futsal with. He lived here, and we always wondered, what he kind of, should I say, what he kind of did for work. We could never mind it, but he always used to say, oh yeah, just going to, Aspen, the Rockies, snow trips. He'd go, yeah, I was just at Bora Bora last week. I'm like, what does this guy do? And anyway, turns out he was a tech guy. He created some system that was used for all schools in New South Wales. So he basically had obviously the company paying for itself there, and he had obviously all the royalties off that paying for him. He lived, this is like 10 years ago, mind you, and it would have been a $30 million house 10 years ago. So this guy, he was a Jewish guy. I think his kids went to Mariah College from memory. Really nice guy, mind you. But that's some of the people you have living in these kinds of locations. It's very common. They might not dress like they're very wealthy, but I'll tell you right now, a lot of the wealthiest people you will find dress very casually because they don't want people to know that. So you get people like that living here. And look, no debate over me over this is the best located suburb in the country, near all the jobs, near the city, near the beach, the most in-demand beach in the country. Very tightly held stock. Billionaires wanting to buy here. The sort of people want to buy here. Incredible. So North Bondi is the number one draft pick for Sydney. If you've got any budget, you need about 4.5 million, mind you. So not for everyone, but that's where we're kind of at. So that's my Sydney summary.